like to call this session of the Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board to order. And there have been a few modifications to the posted meeting agenda. Let me see. Kathy Marriott, her application is being continued. She still is doing some work with her engineers and whatnot and wasn't ready tonight. So we're going to be continuing that. We also will be discussing our calendar for next year. And we will also be discussing at the very end of the meeting our response to the Grassmere response that we received to the questions and comments that we had sent them back in July. And I believe everything else stands as printed on the agenda. Could I hear a motion to approve the meeting notes that Jim has supplied us with?
So moved, Edna.
And a second, please.
Second, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy. All in favor, please say aye.
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 We've all had copies of the October 19th minutes to review. Could I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Very good. I have no correspondence or announcements. Does anyone else have anything they wish to bring forward? Okay, hearing nothing. Perhaps we could look at our calendar for next year, our meeting calendar. I think Gretchen sent that out. I hope you've all had a chance to take a look at it.
Yep.
Has anyone not had a chance to take a look at it?
I admit I haven't looked at it. Sorry.
Okay, it's a real good one. We're going to be very busy. All right. Could I hear a motion to approve the calendar?
So moved, Melody.
A second, please.
Second, Kathy.
Second, Sharon.
Any comments on this? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And Edna, I guess you want to abstain just.
I'm quite sure it won't be a problem.
Okay, thank you. All right. I don't know what else we have here. That'll take us just a couple minutes.
Do we have any of the, can we look at the ZBA referrals?
Yeah, okay. The first one, Hannah Barrett. The applicant is proposing to install a shed. The location requires a 40-foot side yard setback variance. And what we have here is we find that the requested variance raises no significant planning concerns. And we find that the requested variance does raise potential environmental concerns related to the WRO overlay standards, which are to be assessed by the planning board through the application currently before the board. And we recommend that the ZBA rely upon its own study of the facts in deciding the application in accordance with the criteria and procedures set forth in Town Code Chapter 125 and Section 125.454, which is the WRO, including consideration of input of neighboring property owners. Could I hear a motion to approve?
So moved, Melody.
Could I hear a second?
Second.
Kathy.
Kathy. Any discussion on this one?
No.
Okay, hearing none. Could I, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Very good. I think it's probably 6:35 somewhere. We could have our first public hearing.
Sure.
Our first public hearing is Aaron Mulligan, 402 Sapasco Center Street, site plan and special use permit for a privacy fence.
Okay, Michael, I know they're here. Let me see if I need to unmute.
That's good, Jim. Okay, is the applicant available to take us through this?
Yep, I'm here. It's Jeff Mulligan.
Okay, can you please explain to the public and the board exactly what you're doing here?
So what we're looking to do is to fence in our backyard at our property at 402 Sapasco Center Street. We'll have a fence come out the side of the house and then head right back to I can't see the map and I don't have it in front of me. I think it's about 35 feet or so from our back property line, come across the back of our property. Run about, I think it's 4 feet from an 18-foot section on our neighboring property, and then come back in towards our house, Essentially what we're looking to do is to fence in our backyard.
Okay, and the nature of the fence?
What do you mean by nature?
Okay, well, I know what it is. It's a 6
Oh,
foot
oh,
fence.
six- Yeah, it's a 6 foot white fence, solid. I don't know how else to explain it. It's a pretty standard 6 foot white type of fence.
Okay, okay. This is a depiction of what it would look like that we now have up on the screen.
Yes.
Okay. As you know, we've been looking into this. There was some concern about the solid nature of the fence. I know you're before the ZBA, I believe, on Wednesday night. When I think they're taking up your proposal. I think they'll have a resolution Wednesday night. That's my understanding. We've been on the site visit for it. Among the things we did discover, which gives us some concern over the fence, the size of it, is that we did look into what the lot looked like and then how most of the vegetation from the lot was cleared prior to building the house, to which some extent creates a self-created problem in terms of privacy since all the greenery was removed. I don't know if Jim has those pictures available from 2016 and 2018.
Let me look for those. Where did I have those? Here we go. So the image up right now is from 26, is an aerial image from 2016. So can everyone see that?
It's still, yes.
Okay, so this is the site here. And then this is the image in 2018.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, let's see. And then this is what we have today,
Okay.
essentially. Maybe a little earlier than today, but this is what the site generally looks like now.
So that's basically what we're looking at, that most of the greenery was removed. We understand that what you want this for is for a privacy fence. I believe that's what you've relayed to us and to the Zoning Board of Appeals. In looking
Correct.
at this, we looked at other options, and it's a 6 foot vinyl fence. So we looked at other options of 6 foot vinyl fences that would offer some air between the slats on such a fence. And I think if Jim has that, well, that's still the,
Just give me 1 second here. I have to flip between files. I'll zoom in. Okay, can everyone see that?
yeah, this is also a vinyl fence, a 6 foot vinyl fence, but the appearance is more natural. It is more resembling wood and would obviously be more attractive fence. It would once again still be vinyl, so it would still be low maintenance and it would still have the same characteristics as the fence you were proposing to use. I guess as we discussed at the pre-submission meeting, with this fence, you wouldn't be before the planning board right now because the only reason you're here is because you wanted a solid fence, which is what requires a special use permit from the planning board. You would still need obviously the variance, the 6 foot variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals, since only a 4 foot fence is permitted by right along street fronts. And you have 2 basic front yards because you have the corner lot. And so one of the questions we had is, would this be an acceptable fence for you to use instead of the solid fence?
I guess my question would be, what is the opposition to a solid fence?
Basically appearance.
But if I'm going to be, so if I get a fence like this, then I wouldn't have to worry about doing any of the landscaping with the trees, and I can just put up a fence.
Correct. You wouldn't have to worry about anything from the planning board because you wouldn't be before the planning board.
But I guess the question is, I would much prefer to put up a solid fence and then do all this landscaping and put up trees and bushes and plants and make it look presentable. You know, I don't understand I'm trying to understand what is the difference here.
It's basically a question of aesthetics amongst members as we were just discussing this.
Okay. I mean, so going back to what your first point was in regards to clearing the lot, this lot was an unkempt lot from when this whole village was first built back in 1950. No one had taken care of it. It was filled with just unkempt weeds, and there's greenery, but there's a difference between greenery that you could use as landscaping and just unkempt, you know, there's no other word for it, just trees that were just completely unusable.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
this is also you know, everyone knows it's an NIO piece of property. They're smaller lots. There's not a lot of room to work with. So you have to, in order to put a house in and to put in a septic and have an overflow septic field spot, and then also have your well and all these other things, you have to do a lot of clearing. And the lot itself is only 0.67 acres.
That's
so
true.
we preserved whatever we possibly could with the footprint of the house, the footprint of the septic system, the well. So we only cleared what we had to clear in order to put this house up.
Okay, and I know the septic runs to the back of the house.
It does.
Do we have a copy of the planting plan that I think you've sent? Jim, do you have a copy of that? And this was to go with the 6-foot solid fence.
Correct.
Don't know if I have oh, yes, I do. Hold on. So that's the first side, the front of the house. And then this would be, let me rotate it around again, sorry. The side.
Hasn't come up yet, Jim.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me try that again. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay, so there's the rendering we were given for the side, and I'm sorry, I'll have to rotate it again. And that was the rendering for the front.
I think, okay, thank you. Okay, very good. Okay. Basically, Edna and I did the site visit, so a lot of my comments certainly are based upon what we saw at the site, and we had a good talk with the Mulligans about this and what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it. I guess I'd just like to open this up to other members of the planning board if they have questions or comments they would like to add.
Well, I would like to comment on my site visit.
Very good. Please do.
Jim, can you put up that parcel access photo that I sent to you?
Yes, I can.
What this shows, this is a little further away than the other parcel access map that we were looking at. So it shows 308 there on the left, and then you turn into Sapasco Beach Drive. And you'll notice that there are some other houses that you pass before you get to this house. But it's interesting that you tend not to notice them because it's the first intersection where you tend to pause. And there you see this house, making it a very kind of noticeable, visible property as you enter this community. Take the next photo, Jim. This was taken from the back of the property, the kind of back side view where most of the fence will be. One of the things that you notice when you look at these two photos is there are no sidewalks in this community. So people are either walking in the road or they're driving. Jim, if you can go back to the site plan.
Sorry, give me 1 second to find it. Okay, and it should be up now.
Oh, thanks. This looks a little different than the site plan I have on paper. I guess how the fence is laid out in red there. It's interesting because according to the older site plan, somebody walking in the road would be at least 10 feet away from the fence. And at least 25 feet from the house. So if you're going by in a car, you're going to be kind of sitting low down as you do in a car, and you're going to just have a glance at this as you pass by. If you're walking in the road, you're not really going to be seeing anything between those small openings in a semi-solid fence. There's one more photo, Jim, that I had sent you. It's a photo of the semi-solid fence in use on a property, which I think gives a better sort of view of what it could look like.
Yep, let me bring that one up.
So, I mean, depending upon your perspective, it almost can look like a solid fence, you know, if you're coming at it from an angle. And typically, if you're walking, you know, you're 25 feet away from this house, you're walking in the road, it would only be when you're actually right in front of these spacers that you would have any ability to see between them. But you're not going to be seeing between them. If you're walking, you're moving. If you're in your car, you're moving. So what they do is they give a more attractive appearance. They take away the possible appearance of a barrier or a stockade on this important corner. So that's my report.
Thank you, Edna.
Can I ask a
other members?
question? Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
question. I, like Edna, thought I remembered the fence at the back of the property going into a tree line. Is the shed there now? Is the shed existing on the property?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You're thinking of the other corner. The fence is going to go into a tree line on the corner where it intersects right along Beach Drive.
Perhaps. I just didn't recall the shed, so I apologize if my memory didn't serve me well.
Yeah, I do I do recall the shed being there. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or comments from the planning board? Okay, I think, Gretchen, have we received any comments in writing from the public?
No.
Okay,
There is the cab report.
very good. George, if you could give your report.
Thank you. This is George Baker from CAB speaking. I too attended the site visit with both Michael and Edna. I just recently discussed the Mulligan's proposal with my fellow cab members at our most recent meeting, and I'll just briefly read to you a 2-paragraph conclusion we came to. The rules in place governing both fence height and appearance is a sound one, and this rule is clearly articulated. By seeking this variance, the Mulligans are asking for these rules to be bent for their benefit. It is CAB's opinion that they have not supplied sufficient or compelling reason for why these rules should not apply to them. There is a merit in being strict here, as the Mulligans' location is high visibility, occupying far too prominent a corner for a solid fence on this scale to not be a negative impact, both aesthetically per their lot and on the overall character of the neighborhood. It would be an unwelcome imposition on their community. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Any members of the public here this evening wish to speak or comment on the application? I'm guessing that's a no.
Not seeing anybody unmute their lines, no.
Okay. All right, what I'd like to do tonight, we need to wait. We don't know what the ZBA is going to decide or what conditions they may place on, if they grant the variance, what conditions they may place on it, which they often do when they grant a variance or can do. And whatever conditions they place on it, giving the variance, we would have to incorporate into our resolution of approval. So what I'd like to do is continue this public hearing to our next meeting on December 7th, at which time we'll have the whatever the ZBA has decided, and we will be able to move forward. Assuming if they grant the height variance, we'll be able to move forward with our approval resolution. If for some reason they choose not to, then this application before us is no longer viable, obviously. So that's what I'd like to do tonight. If I could have a motion,
Michael,
we would continue to just, yes?
This is Jeff Mulligan.
Yes.
I don't want to gloss over the point too, though, and I brought it to the board's attention that this is not a one-off situation in this neighborhood. And we spoke about this when yourself and Edna were there, that the neighbor directly behind us has a solid fence. And in addition to, at a minimum, 8 to 7 other houses within the Sapasco village. You know, so George's statement from the Conservation Board is a little bit unsettling in that I don't know if they took the time to go through this entire neighborhood and look at all the different residences in there and really make an opinionated decision on whether this would change the neighborhood or not.
Michael, the thing I would add is, in all the years I've been on the planning board, I would presume that those fences were put in prior to the current zoning law.
I don't know when they were put in. I mean,
well, I was about to say that I've been on the planning board a long time and I've never seen an application come before us for a fence of this height in Sapasco Village.
So then I have 7 more, like 8 to 10 neighbors who put up fences that they shouldn't have?
No, I think they were put in before the current zoning law, which changed the requirements. That's all I'm saying, is that it's a matter of when it happened, not what happened.
And okay. And then my second point here is that this is a private village. So me putting up fences in relation to what other neighbors have done within this private village, I'm just falling in line with what the other residents of this private association have done. These are not public roads. This is a private area. It's clearly stated on the way into Sapasco that it is a private area, and that nobody is there unless they're with a resident or a guest of a resident. So going back to the Conservation Board's point that this is going to decrease the value or change the neighborhood, it doesn't make any sense. It's a private village.
Well, frankly, when you drive up your own driveway, anyone's driveway, you're on private property as well. But the zoning laws apply across the board. So
I understand that, but I'm just trying to be respectful and counter to what others have said, that you know, these aren't public roads. These are all private roads. These are maintained by the residents of the Sapasco village.
No, I appreciate that. I do.
And so it's a little bit hard to understand that now I'm being told that this is going to negatively affect the neighborhood, or in a neighborhood that's private, where everybody else, when I say everybody else, I mean 8 to 10 other people within this area have put up similar solid 6-foot fences around their backyards.
And I appreciate your response. I do. But once again, the CAB, that was their opinion on what they saw and what they felt should be.
I understand that. It just sounded to me that they had a pretty strong opinion on a situation that these are not public roads.
No, they're not. I agree. But once again, you wouldn't be here if the law didn't still apply.
I'm not, Michael. We've got a unique situation here with a unique property within a private village association. I understand that the laws apply, no doubt about it. We're having a discussion, and like I said, the Conservation Board had some pretty strong statements about this. I just wanted to have a chance to talk about what the actual situation is.
Yes, and I do understand that. I do understand that. The reason I'm continuing the public hearing to December 7th is not to approve or disapprove your application. It's to make sure that we know what the ZBA does. And if they do put any conditions on it, we're aware of them, so that we don't make some sort of a decision tonight, which actually then goes against whatever decision they make Wednesday night. And then it brings us all back to try and clean everything up again. That's all.
I understand that. Nope, I understand that 100%.
Does anyone else have any other comments?
Michael, there is one member of the public who would like to make a comment.
Okay.
Tricia, if you want to unmute your line.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I haven't followed this application. I'm just seeing it tonight, but I just wanted to comment. The only review I'm hearing is regarding sightlines and aesthetics, but I believe that a solid fence also does help reduce traffic noise and headlights for private residents. So those might be other concerns that the homeowner has that might want them to have a solid fence over a slotted or partially, see-through fence. So I don't know if those issues had been raised, but being right on the corner, personally, if I live there, headlights coming through early in the morning when people are leaving to go to work, road noise, I would pursue a solid fence as well, just to reduce those other aspects of the traffic. So I just wanted to put those comments out there for consideration.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything they wish to add at this moment? Okay, could I hear a motion to continue the public hearing to December 7th at 6:45? Was that a motion?
No, so moved, Melody.
Did I hear a second?
Second, Kathy.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Okay, on the 7th, we'll be in possession of whatever the ZBA has decided to do, and we can then move forward that night on the approval resolution. Okay. Our next public hearing is Andrew Smith, 70 Kelly Street, screened porch site plan and special use permit.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. Good, thanks.
If you just want to sort of describe to everyone what you have in mind, I think, Jim, do you have anything to put up for us?
Yes, I'm working on it right now.
Okay.
I also have our architect present, Jim Fish, who has been working with us the past few months. So what we have is our home on Kelly Street, a couple houses down from the Morton Library. And on the south side of our house, we want to put a, I think roughly 180 square foot screened in porch, facing a wooded section of our property. And other than that, we don't want to make any other changes. It's not going to be like a slab or like a diversion of runoff or anything like that. It's going to be just on piers and an extension of our house. We've taken consideration to be as continuous of the existing structure.
Okay. Jim, do we have an elevation?
Yes. Let me open that up.
There we go. Thank you.
Yep.
Andrew, is it okay if I jump in for a sec?
Sure.
Thanks. This is Jim Fish from Lodge Architecture in Kingston. I wanted to just make you all aware that that it is it's a small property. It's a rectangular property on Kelly Street. It's 0.12 acres. It's going on the side and the back of the side of the house and in the back of the house. It's unheated. It is part of the Rhinecliff Overlay District. It's in the local waterfront revitalization area, and it's in the National Historic District for Hudson River. The idea of the design was to, of course, have it be to downplay its massing when it comes to the original house. I've met with the clients a few times, and we made some modifications to it in its size. We've made it as small as they could, as small as they could stand, and we placed the gable to the side to try to give it less presence on the street and really make it subservient to the massing of the main house. Everything is going to be the same color palette as the house. Screens, of course, stairs in the front, and I think that's it.
I think also I think you did mention that it's on piers. It's not a slab foundation or anything like that, which further aids in drainage, things of that sort.
That's right. And the site is a little challenging. It's got a hill in the back coming towards the house, and so they've been trying to take measures to be able to move some of the water around the house into the front of the lot or over to the side where they park. And so the idea with the piers was that we wanted it to not get in the way of any of that drainage. We wanted all the water to be able to run pretty much under either catch it first or run it under the house, run it under the porch. Pretty much as it is now, actually. If there is an existing deck there, the footprint for the screened-in porch actually isn't that much bigger than the existing deck.
And Michael, this is Jim. They did show the slight modification in the grade that will be necessary to provide this. So that addition was made to the plans, and the other small items I had have all been addressed.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Sharon and I did the site visit. Sharon, would you like to describe what we saw, or?
Well, Rhinecliff is pretty unique. I mean, the house doesn't have much land around it, but this little shed's going to go right on the back southeast corner, and it really isn't going to change anything. The cars will be parked in front of it as they are now, which they're lucky they have off-street parking. I think it's the street that goes down behind it. It's close. I mean, but it's a good little shed or screened-in porch. I had no problem with it.
I would agree. The way it's been designed, it integrates very beautifully into the existing house. Then it views out. There's a lovely little wooded area off to the side here on the property. I think it's. I see no issues with this whatsoever. I think it's. I think it'll be a very nice addition to the house and to the neighborhood. It'll fit right in. Is there a CAB report?
Yes, a very short one. The proposed construction will be simple and practical and is congruent with the modest vernacular style of this board and batten hamlet home. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Other comments or questions from members of the planning board? Okay, any members of the public here wishing to speak? Hearing none?
Nope, I think you're good, Michael.
Okay. Could I hear a motion to close the public hearing, please?
So closed, Melody. So moved.
Second, Edna.
Thank you, Edna. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, I have a resolution. The Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board hereby acts as follows on the applications by Andrew Smith for site plan approval and a special use permit under Town Code Chapter 125 for construction of a screened porch and fence at 70 Kelly Street within the RCH Rancliffe Hamlet and RCO overlay zoning districts. We reaffirm the proposed action as type 2 under seeker. Based upon review of submitted information, including reports from planning board members and CAB WAC members on their site visit to the project property, finds that the proposed work is consistent with the objectives and regulations of Chapter 125. With respect to the application for special use permit to authorize work, we find the proposed work and intended use to be consistent with the general standards for special use permits, and we grant the requested special use permit conditional upon receipt of site plan approval by the planning board. With respect to the application for site plan approval, we find the proposed work and intended use to be consistent with Town Code Chapter 125 and approve the application inclusive of the application materials and plans by Loge Architecture and Building Science dated October 30th, 2020, and we authorize the planning board chair to stamp and sign the above cited site plan upon the applicant's satisfaction of the below conditions and the requirements within 6 calendar months of the adoption of this resolution. Submission of the above cited site plan in the form and number specified within Town Code Chapter 125, except as be modified as to a lesser extent by the chair in consideration of filing distribution requirements, including therein all required stamps, seals, and certifications, and payment of any outstanding fees and or reimbursable amounts due the Town of Rhinebeck related to the review and processing of applications subject to this resolution, and receipt of all approvals, authorizations, or certifications required herein from any other town, county, state, or other agency as required to undertake the proposed actions. Could I hear a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Melody.
So moved. Second,
Okay,
Sharon.
Melody. Okay, I think we're good. I will pull the board. Sharon,
Aye.
Kathy,
Aye.
Edna,
Aye.
Delise,
Aye.
Melody,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So as soon as you get the final site plan in for me to stamp and sign, you can get a building permit.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very
And
much.
I just wanted to say thanks for the clarity and how direct you all were about your expectations when we first proposed this. And I just want to say Jim did a great job taking all that into consideration. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
And best of good luck.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Okay, our next public hearing, Spring Hill Farm McNally, 379 Slate Quarry Road, ground mounted solar site plan and special use permit. Okay, is the applicant or the applicant's representative here?
Yes, I'm here, Sean Gottschalk.
Okay, if you could take us through what's being proposed.
Sure. First off, just like to thank Edna, Kathy, and Mark for taking a site visit and checking out the property and taking that nice steep walk up the hill and putting on your hiking boots. I appreciate that. So one of the most important things is aesthetics, and we have a ground mount that's unvisible to the actual landowners themselves. So we put them up on the far back side of the property for aesthetics for not only the the landowners that have to live there, but also to the surrounding neighbors and everything else. One thing I'm very proud of is using environmental earth anchors. So there's no concrete, there's no heavy machinery, and as you can see right here, all we need is a tractor with an auger, and they literally go right into the earth's surface. And it's one thing I'm once again very proud of, just because of the fact that we're not putting concrete on a beautiful farm
and the thing can be removed, you know, any day of the week. So it's pretty cool. Technology's come a long way, and pretty excited for this project, and just wanted to see if there's anything on the planning board that anybody else has come across that, you know, that they might have any outlook on, or but I'm thinking that this job is pretty well designed.
Okay, now who did the site visit? Edna and?
I did.
And then Kathy.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you see?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Jim, you could make the site plan just a little closer for everybody. Yeah, that's great. It is very hilly, as you can see from the topo. And it's quite wooded in the entire area. There is a stone wall that separates, kind of cuts the property horizontally, so that the trenching and the cable will actually go under this stone wall, which I'm told will be rebuilt once that is done. To the north of the array, the hill continues, and it's quite wooded. To the west, it's wooded. To the east, there is somewhat fewer trees, and the array from the side might be visible from someone standing in that pasture, but there is no residence visible at all from the site. Kathy, do you have any other thoughts on this?
No, and I have to thank you for taking the bulk of that visit. We had a power failure at our house, so I couldn't stay very long, but I concur with what she says, but Edna says you really can't see it. It's well placed, and I didn't certainly have any issues with it.
Thank you. Do we have a CAB report?
I'm not sure if Gretchen has one from us on that one.
Mark from the CAB did report. We had an awesome visit with him. He was super stoked about the whole project. Thought everything was pretty well placed, but you know, he did mention he was going to put a report together and send it in. I don't know if he did so or not, but he certainly didn't have anything to do with anything.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from members of the planning board?
I just want some clarification about the stone wall. I mean, it sounds like you're taking down a stone wall to do something and then it's going to be rebuilt. Can you explain to me?
Sure. So basically, there's a field where, so if you were to look where the array is on this parcel,
yes,
take a stone wall to go in between there.
Between
I'm sorry, in between the house, which is
okay,
the block, and the
okay,
array. So it's a stone wall. It's a property line divider between the field up above and the field below.
right.
So the conduit that we're burying,
yeah,
is a 2-inch conduit. It's the size of, you know, your forearm, right?
uh-huh.
Well, there's only a few rocks that need to be taken off the stone wall. It's a typical rock wall. We can trench through it, and then the rock wall would have to be rebuilt, obviously. And it's not even being rebuilt. It's almost just putting back the rocks where we took them off.
Can you explain to me why that exact location is
sure. So in order to get to, so the array's up top, in order to get our, when the sun's hitting the solar panels, it's creating a DC power, and your house is operated on AC power. So the DC lines are going to run from the array down to the house where the inverter is going to be. The inverter is going to flip the DC to the AC, so the house and everything that's being powered on the property can be powered. So in order to get that conduit from up top, where it will be, you know, visibly unseen, down to the bottom, we would just need to go through that rock wall. And
so you're not really disturbing the length east to west of the wall. You are penetrating the wall from essentially north to south to get your lines there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if you were to take, you know, that rock wall is probably, I don't know, 1,000+ feet. If we were to take 2 feet out of the rock wall,
I see.
dig down and then put 2 feet of the rocks back.
Okay. No, I you know, the way it was described, it made it sound, I'm assuming this was probably a property
Right.
marker. So as long as your intention is to rebuild it in those locations, you have to penetrate. I think that's a reasonable accommodation.
This is a super beautiful property, and you know, a hole in a rock wall would look pretty unpleasing. So it's going to be done right.
Okay, thanks for the explanation.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, do we have any members of the public who wish to be heard?
Michael, this is Jim. My comments have been addressed.
Okay.
And I'm not seeing anyone unmute their lines.
Okay. In that case, could I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
I so move.
Thank you, Kathy. Second?
Edna.
Thank you, Edna. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All righty. I have another resolution. The Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board hereby acts as follows on the application by Spring Hill Farm for site plan approval and a special use permit for installation of a ground-mounted solar array at 379 Slate Quarry Road within the RC5 Rural Countryside Zoning District. We reaffirm the proposed action as type 2 under seeker, and based upon review of submitted information, including reports from Planning Board members and CAB members on their site visit to the project property, we find the proposed work is consistent with the objectives and regulations of Chapter 125. And with respect to the application of special use permit to authorize work, we find the proposed work and intended use be consistent with the general standards for special use permit set forth in Town Code Chapter 125, and grant the requested special use permit conditional upon receipt of site plan approval from the Planning Board. With respect to the application for site plan approval, we find the proposed work and intended use be consistent with Town Code Chapter 125-75 and approve the application inclusive of the application materials and plans by Gottschalk. Is that the right way to say that, I hope?
Gottschalk.
Thank you. Solutions LLC dated August 11th, 2020, and we authorize the Planning Board Chair to stamp and sign the above cited site plan upon the applicant's satisfaction of the below conditions and requirements within 6 calendar months of the adoption of this resolution. Submission of the above cited site plan and form and number specified within Town Code Chapter 125, and payment of any outstanding fees and reimbursable amounts due the Town of Rhinebeck related to the review and processing of applications subject to this resolution, and receipt of all approvals, authorizations, and or certifications required herein or from any other town, county, state, or other agency as required to undertake the proposed action. Could I hear a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Melody.
Second, Edna.
Yeah, thank you. I will poll the board. Sharon?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Edna?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Melody?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So as soon as we get it and I can stamp and sign it, you can get the building permit.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody on here, and thanks again.
Well, good luck. Our next public hearing, George Beckwith, 35 Russell Avenue, to install a window, site plan and special use permit.
Yes, hello. So I'm applying for a 24 by 30 inch window to be installed in our kitchen, which is at the back of the house. And it's intended to bring more light into the kitchen because we don't have much light in there, natural light. And allowed for ventilation because we don't have any other windows that are operable in there, just one door in the front of the house. And also to allow views out to the back of our property. So, and the proposed window, it's basically 24 by 30 inches. It's a Marvin casement window, and it's designed to be in character with the rest of the various existing window types in the house. The trim will match the existing window trim in kind that we have all over the rest of the house. And the window faces the rear yard. It's not visible from anywhere off of the property, except possibly from the second, from one window on the second floor of our neighbor's house, which is about 200 feet away. And there's no change to the site, you know, it's just a window. So that's about it.
Okay. Once again, Sharon and I did the site visit. I don't know, Sharon, if you'd like to comment.
This window is, nobody's going to notice it. I mean, it's going to blend right in. It's just going to look like it was always there. So I had no problem with it.
Yeah, I agree. And at the same time, the light can really be used in the kitchen. It does face out. It's a really nice, large piece of property, especially for Rhinecliff, and the landscaping is quite lovely, so it will tend to look out. But I don't see any way that this in any way detracts from the existing structure or the other features of the building myself. And I know we have members from the CAB with us. Did they?
We concur. The window will not detract from the overall appearance of the house from the street or from neighboring properties, and will not diminish the integrity or alter the significance of the property as part of the landmark district.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Welcome.
Other questions or comments from members of the planning board?
Michael, I should just point out that there were 3 members from the HAPAC there, and we concur with what has already been said. There's no impact or issues as far as we're concerned.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Anyone else on the board with something they'd like to say? Anyone amongst the public who would care to speak up?
Michael, this is Jim. I have no issues on the planning side. And I'm not seeing anybody unmute their line.
Okay, thank you. Well, then, we have another resolution. The town of Rhinebeck, wait a minute. Could I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, Edna.
So moved.
And a second from
Sharon.
Sharon. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Very good. All right. The Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board hereby acts as follows on the applications by George Beckwith for site plan approval and a special use permit under Town Code Chapter 125 for installation of a window at 35 Russell Avenue in the Rhinecliff Hamlet and Rhinecliff Overlay District. We reaffirm the proposed action as type 2 under seeker. Based upon review of submitted information, including reports from planning board members and CAB-WAC members and the HAPAC members on their site visit to the project property, we find that the proposed work is consistent with the objectives and regulations of Chapter 125. And with respect to the application for special use permit, we find the proposed work and intended use to be consistent with the general standards for special use permit set forth in Town Code Chapter 125, and grant the requested special use permit conditional upon receipt of site plan approval by the planning board. And with respect to the application for site plan approval, we find the proposed work and intended use to be consistent with Town Code Chapter 125, and we approve the application inclusive of application materials and renderings by George Beckwith included in the pre-application packet dated September 21st, 2020. And we authorize the planning board chair to stamp and sign the above cited site plan upon the applicant's satisfaction of the below conditions or requirements within 6 calendar months of the adoption of this resolution. Submission of the above cited site plan in the form and number specified. Payment of any outstanding fees and or reimbursable amounts due the town of Rhinebeck related to the review and processing of applications subject to this resolution, and receipt of all approvals, authorizations, or certifications required herein, or from any other town, county, state, or other agency as required to undertake the proposed actions. Could I hear a motion to approve?
I so move.
Second.
Second, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon. I will poll the board. Melody?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Edna?
Aye.
Delise?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So as soon as I can stamp and sign your final plan, you can get a building permit and put that window in.
Great. Thank you all very much.
You're very welcome. Have a good evening.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Okay, our last public hearing for this evening is with Kathy Marriott. She has asked us to continue the public hearing as she's still working with her engineers in the health department, getting the SDS all straightened away for the accessory dwelling unit that is currently on her property. So I think that we have that scheduled to continue it until December 21st at 6:50. Could I hear a motion to so continue?
So move.
Second, please.
Second, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Very good. Okay. We now have a few new applications. Okay. Margot, 14 Hutton Street, site plan and special use permit.
Yes, hi, this is Elaine and Reynolds Tate from Tate Construction, representing Margot Lulick.
And what is it that we're going to do here?
A pergola on the existing side and rear deck and a skylight in the front of the house.
Okay. And I know at one point, one thing I think Jim pointed out was wondering if we did have a depiction on a plan such as this of exactly where the skylight was going to go.
No, we did not draw something up for that.
Okay, well that.
It'll be approximately in the center of the roof facing Hutton Street.
Right. The upper, there's a front porch roof, which is a lower roof, and then there's the upper roof of the second story of the house, and it'll be dead center in that piece of roof, which is a relatively low pitch roof. Yeah. Okay. And it's.
There you go. We can turn that around.
Should I go back to the images?
There we go. There we
go. It's not raised curb or anything.
I assume it's going in the middle of the roof on the upper left-hand picture.
Yes.
And then we have a picture of the back deck where the pergola is going to go.
Right.
Okay.
And the pergola is basically to shade those 5 windows on the lower level.
Mm-hmm.
Because the afternoon sun really is in there to that's the living room.
The one thing we will need on the final site plan is if you can just show exactly where the window is going to be, that would be helpful. Up there on the roof. I'm sure you have that information. You'd need it, for the building. So if you could just show us on the final site plan that you're going to submit for stamping and signing exactly where that's going to be.
Do we have a size? Do we have a size for the skylight?
It's the center of that picture, which is in the front of the house.
Someone else having a bad connection.
Yeah, you're breaking up on us here.
That window. And it is.
I'm getting nothing. I assume you guys are not either.
Yeah, I think we've got a bad connection.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we have a bad
You can't hear us?
It's breaking up on us pretty badly.
Can they give the dimensions in the chat room, Jim?
Yeah, certainly could do that.
4 foot by 4 foot, if you can hear that.
For 4 feet by 4 feet.
Correct.
Correct. And there's a window centered on that front wall on the house. It's going to be about that same size, only up on the roof. Yes, correct.
But is that window centered? To me, it doesn't look centered.
That window is not centered, but the skylight will be centered.
Yeah,
right. That's what concerns me.
There you go.
There we go.
Rotate that around for everybody to make things a little easier.
I'm just, you know, as you say
So
that, I'm
the
just
sky-
wondering. Go ahead, Edna.
Well, did I hear 4 feet by 4 feet?
Yes.
That's quite large, isn't it? What's the width of that middle window?
The one that's there right now, I don't know exactly, but it will look similar to that. That one's probably a little narrower than it is long.
Well, it looks rectangular to me, not square.
Yeah, that one probably is.
Jim, can we not ask for elevations or drawings or something?
Yeah, so the only real comment that I had related to this was that I did think that we should see where the skylight was going to be placed and, you know, sketched onto the plan so that we can get it in perspective to everything else. So I think we'd like to see that added.
What's the relationship between the placement of the skylight and the interior of the house?
It's directly over the center hallway staircase. Because there's no light in that staircase.
Okay.
And that's what she's trying to do, is light the whole staircase up naturally.
Yeah, I see, because from the exterior, it would make sense to have the skylight directly over that center window. But now you've explained why it has to go where it has to go. It must have to do with interior walls.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Thanks for the explanation.
Yes.
I think if you can add that skylight's positioning on the drawings on the site plan that you have to show where the pergola is going, where the deck and whatnot, that would be very helpful.
Sure. Yep.
I also had a question about the material of the pergola, particularly the roof. What's it made of?
The whole thing is being constructed of an exterior treated trim material that Williams Lumber happens to carry. It's called solid gold. So it's been treated, pressure treated, but then primed, and it is milled to as pressure treated material is. And they pre-prime it. It's going to be all painted white to match the trim color on the house. And it's got a much daintier look to it than the rough dimensional lumber look would have.
And what is the roof made of?
Oh, that's just more trim material, which is run perpendicular to the rafters in order to create a shadowing effect when the sun shines on it.
I understand it. I understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do we have other questions? Okay. Well then, Jim, anything that you wanted to bring up at the moment?
Well, no, for me, it's just making sure we get that skylight, sketched on the plan. I guess the only other thought, I did pop into my head was in terms of the skylight itself, if the idea of the light tubes has been considered. They have a smaller presence on the roof, and I think they kind of open up as you get into the inside of the house, and they do provide a lot of light. It might be less, visible on the roof, but again, when we get that sketch on there, it'll help the planning board kind of see the size. But just thinking about other options that are out there that might provide the light that maybe aren't quite so large on the roof.
Well, she did consider those, but they don't. She would need several of them to light this hallway. It's a pretty good size hallway, and it's right in the center of the house. And she didn't like the dome look of those on the roof. It kind of gave an aerospace look, she said. Whereas the flat glass, she thought was going to be a lot less noticeable on the roof itself.
Okay, so other ideas were considered, and this is what she thought would work best in the application.
May I make a suggestion? And that would be to just take another look and see whether you could achieve what you want to achieve by lining the skylight up with that center window?
Yes, I can actually supply with you, when I supply the elevation on the outside, I'll supply an inside picture or drawing of how it would lay out, how we're thinking it would lay out, and how it would lay out if I tried to line it up with that window.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
It's actually in a bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's in another room. That
Is there a wall?
those two windows to the right.
So there's
Yes.
a wall that separates that
the
window
hallway.
and where the beginning of the skylight would go.
Yes.
Yes.
So it will actually be on the completely other side of the window. It won't cross over it at all.
But it's
These are in the bedroom.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're saying.
well, it was the point I was making
Yes.
earlier, which is that if you were to put
that window.
If it lined up with the window, it'll be in the bedroom,
Right.
not in the hallway.
No.
No.
No,
So
it'll still be in the hallway, but it'll be off center in the hallway because that window, the bedroom wraps behind the hallway a little bit. So
maybe it would help to see a floor plan.
yes, I think so.
And some elevation.
Yep.
Yeah, a little more information for the next meeting for the public hearing would be great to help visualize it a little better.
Yes, perfect.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, I have a procedural resolution. The Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board hereby acts as follows on the application by Margot Lulick for site plan review and special use permit under Town Code Chapter 125 for construction of a pergola and installation of a skylight at 14 Hutton Street within the RCH, Rhinecliff Hamlet, and RCO Rhinecliff Overlay zoning districts. We accept the application and supporting documents as adequate for further review by the planning board, its advisors, and the public, and we classify the proposed action as type 2 under seeker, for which coordinated environmental quality review is precluded. We're scheduling a public hearing on December 21st at 6:35 and directing the clerk to undertake or otherwise cause noticing and posting thereof. We're going to assign delegates. Who would like to go to Rhinecliff?
I'll go.
I'll go.
Okay, we have Sharon and
Melody.
okay. To conduct a field visit on the project site and report their observations at the time of public hearing. In accordance with Town Code Chapter 9, Conservation Advisory Board, we refer it to the application to the Conservation Advisory Board for review and written comment concerning environmental factors. In accordance with Town Code Chapter 118, Waterfront Consistency Review, we refer the application to the Waterfront Advisory Committee for review and written comment concerning consistency with the LWRP. And in accordance with Dutchess County Department of Planning Development, 239 Planning and Zoning Referral, we refer the application to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development for review. And we authorize without prejudice to any information or comment that may be presented at the public hearing or may arise based on both the above cited field visit and or referrals, preparation of a working draft of an approvals resolution for the planning board's consideration on December 21st, or as may be later timely. Could I hear a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Melody.
Second, Edna.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Very good.
Is that scheduled for December 21st, Michael?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
May we be present when you do a site visit?
Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
We'll actually contact you to schedule the time.
Okay.
Yes,
great.
that'd be great.
Okay.
And then you can gain access to the house.
Okay. All right.
Visually see the inside where she wants the placement. Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Good night. Our next
Good night.
application is Jennifer Parsons at 35 July Road, site plan review.
Hello.
Okay, what do we have here?
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Thank you so much for your time. We would love to build this is my house. a 10-foot by 14-foot traditional covered porch on the west elevation of this house. We believe there probably was a porch there prior. The house had been abandoned for a few years and was in a state of disrepair. But given the existing blank facade, and there was a stairway up to what was the kitchen door, we just wanted to add on to that, this porch.
Okay. Any questions from members of the planning board?
No.
Jim, any thoughts you had?
I'm sorry, was that a reference to me, Michael?
Yes, just if you had
Oh,
any-
Jim, I apologize. I did resend you. I had sent a few photographs with the finish look of the porch, and I resent them to you today because I wasn't sure if you got them from the original application.
I can put those up on the screen if you'd like, and then I just had a comment.
Sure.
Would you like me to put
Yeah,
those
it's
up?
just sort of the feel that we're going for that my architect worked with when he did this elevation.
So here was the first one.
That's the existing house. You can see there's just sort of a blank area. The bathroom's there and there are no windows. So that's where we hope to put this porch.
Okay.
And that's the look that we're going for. We don't actually have to do a railing across the front because it's on grade. It'll be less than 30 inches, the step up, but we may choose to do it anyway. In line with the existing stairway. We do have a railing because the grade slopes off pretty dramatically on the right side of the house.
Okay. Jim, you had some thoughts?
I just, in reviewing this, I had some questions about the potential setback requirements related to this.
Okay.
I know most setbacks are grandfathered, but I didn't know exactly how this was going to fall for the side yard setback because maximum building coverage is exceeded and the deck is actually closer to a property line, which kind of is I'm not sure is consistent with the code. So I just wanted to refer this issue back to Michelle to take a look at. I'm hoping there's nothing there, but I want her to make a determination on whether or not there's an issue related to that so that if there is a variance need, we can get that going as soon as possible.
Okay.
It's something that caught my eye.
We had talked about it and she had seemed not fazed by that. It will be an additional foot in. His drawing is actually making it look like it's flush with the building. It's actually a foot in because there's a well cap there. So that would make it 14 feet from the road. Okay.
Yeah. If she was okay with it, then we'll be all right. I just wanted to refer back that one question I had, Michael, just to get her opinion on it.
Yeah.
Make sure we're covered on that. And then if there is an issue, then obviously, Jennifer will have to see about you going to the ZBA. But we'll see what Michelle says, if that's all right with the planning board.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think everything was fine.
Oh, great.
Should a variance be needed, we can run both the ZBA and this planning board review concurrently. So.
Oh, great. Okay.
It would be.
I think it would be good to know whether you want the railing on or not.
Yeah, my architect didn't feel it was necessary, but looking at it, if you guys had a preference, for furnishing, it's actually preferable not to have it because you can just step on and off the porch. But I'm truly happy either way, as long as on the road side, which is just one step up, there's no railing, so it's easy to get onto the porch.
I think it's your choice, but whatever we want to approve, we want to approving.
Okay, got it.
You just need to make your own choice as to what you want, so we know what we're looking at.
Okay, got it.
For whatever it's worth, I've definitely been to that property several times before you purchased it.
Oh, really?
I would say that, and I just pulled up another picture to refresh my memory. I would say that particular side that faces sort of the yard area, the usable space leading out to the exterior structure does feel quite flat. And I would agree that it's likely there was something there. And the whole
yeah, there was a lot of damage, and there was
direction.
a ledger on the side that stuck out. So we think there was definitely something there. There
Yeah,
was
I felt that too. So
yeah, it's really the only view. It's on that side. So we thought it was strange. I mean, it's in obviously an older house. Maybe practically didn't make sense with the bathrooms there, but that there were only, you know, the one small window facing that way. So.
Any other thoughts or questions? Okay, well, I have another resolution. The Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board hereby acts as follows in the application by Jennifer Parsons for site plan review under Town Code Chapter 125, respectively, construction of a front porch at 35 Bly Road in the RC5 zoning district. We accept the application and supporting documents as adequate for further review by the planning board, its advisors, and the public, and we're classifying it as type 2 under seeker, which coordinated environmental quality review is precluded. We're scheduling a public hearing on December 21st at 6:40 and directing the clerk to undertake or otherwise cause noticing and posting thereof. And who would like to go with me to see this one?
I'll go.
Okay, thank you, Edna.
Oh, it's Delise.
I was beginning to feel very lonely. We conduct a field visit to the project site and report their observations at the time of public hearing. In accordance with Town Code Chapter 9, Conservation Advisory Board, we're referring the application to the Conservation Advisory Board for review and written comment concerning environmental factors. In accordance with the Dutchess County Department of Planning, Development 239 Planning Zoning Referral, refer the application to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development for review. And in accordance with the Town Code Chapter 125, we're referring the application to the HAPAC for review and written comment concerning historic and or archaeological elements. We request that the town historian undertake research to determine the full history of the structure and property. And we're authorizing without prejudice to any information or comment that may be presented at the public hearing or may arise based on both the above cited field visit and referrals, preparation of a working draft of an approvals resolution for the planning board's consideration on December 21st, or as may be later timely. Could I hear a motion to approve?
So moved, Melody.
Second.
Second, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Very good. Okay, we'll be getting in touch with you about doing the field visit, and
Super.
we're looking forward to seeing the place. Thank
All right,
you.
great. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for your time.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, we have one more new application. Hannah Barrett, 317 Mill Road, site plan and special use permit.
Hello.
Yes. Can you sort of take us what you want to do here?
Okay, so this is the survey, and you can see on the dotted line where the shed is that we want to build. We've had a meeting already with the ZBA, and then we'll have another one on Wednesday. So the survey shows the house, the driveway, and the area where the shed is that we want to build. The shed is a metal kit. I think we included some renderings from the kit company. Has 2 windows facing the road and a door.
Okay. Any questions by members of the planning board?
Where is the septic on this parcel?
So you can see it there on the plan. It's behind the house.
And the field, the septic field?
It's right there. There's like a little bit of an elevation there, and it's right where the cover is. The leach field is sort of that strip that you see along there. So that if I gather what you're asking about, the leach field's behind the house, no, not anywhere near the shed.
Okay. Is this by any chance an historic structure or more recent origin?
What structure are you referring to? The house?
The house itself.
The house is a ranch from 1966.
Oh.
So I don't know if you would consider that. It makes the 50-year mark, but I wouldn't say it's historic.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the members of the planning board? Jim, did you have any thoughts?
Does Jim have the, I think we had some elevations for this proposed shed?
I was just looking for them. They're in the pre-app file that I didn't have uploaded, so I'm looking for them right now.
We submitted some more recent ones in the last batch of documents. It should be in here. So renderings from the kit company.
All right, give me 1 second. I'll see if I can pull those up. Sorry about that.
It's an all metal building with sort of clapboard style metal skin. And they're very nice looking modern style sheds that we thought would go well with the ranch house.
All right. Where are they?
I'll just interject. I always feel like Jim is the Wizard of Oz behind the screen.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Making everything appear behind the curtain.
So I do have this one. I know I have another one. I can't find it, but let me put this up at least so there's something.
Okay. Well, that's
yeah. That's what I have.
All right, that gives us a good idea.
Yeah.
So is it metal sides and roof?
Yeah, it's the entire thing is a metal kit, and it will be put on a concrete foundation.
And the color, Anna, I've forgotten the color.
It's a dark charcoal gray.
Okay, thank you.
Any other thoughts or questions?
I was just wondering what you're going to put in the shed.
It's going to be storage and just sort of workshop stuff, craft stuff.
Is it heated? Does it have a bathroom?
No, there'll be no bathroom.
Okay, but it is heated?
We're going to put heat pump, mini split, sort of for humidity control. So the storage, we want to store paintings in there, and we want to keep them from getting too cold or too hot, too wet, that kind of thing.
So there will be electric also.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
So this is Jim, and this is not a comment specific to Hannah's application, but I did note on my review, and just wanted to bring up to the planning board that now that we're doing everything digitally, when we get scale bars that say 1 inch equals 30, it's kind of impossible to scale that out, on a screen because everything is different. So one of the things I've asked Gretchen, and I was just going to ask the planning board for kind of approval on is in the future asking for a scale bar that's actually a bar on the paper so that we can scale things out if we're looking at them digitally or that gets printed at a different size. I assume everyone's okay with that, but it'll make things a little easier if we want to use a ruler on a screen or you want to print something out as 8.5 by 11 because it'll scale down appropriately. But if you're good with that, I'd like to start requesting that as we move forward.
I think that's a very good idea.
Okay.
There are times when we actually do want to measure things out and we can't. So.
Yeah, if it's not on the original size sheet, then the scale starts to get kind of funky. So, all right, thank you. Otherwise, I think
we're good to go. Well then, I have a resolution. The Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board hereby acts as follows on the application by Hannah Barrett for site plan and special use permit under Town Code Chapter 125 for construction of a screen Wait a minute. Screen porch and wait a minute. Got the wrong one here.
Nope, I'm sorry. That's a typo. The
Well, actually, it's for a shed.
it's a
So
yes.
it's for a shed. And I think we can go from there. Okay, we accept
On
the
Mill Road.
application and supporting doc. I'm sorry?
It's a shed on Mill Road. The TMP and the zoning district are correct, but that was I'm sorry, that was a coyote over.
All righty. We accept the application and supporting documents as adequate for further review by the planning board, its advisors, and the public. We're classifying the proposed action as type 2 under seeker, and we're scheduling a public hearing of the application for December 21st at 6:45 and directing the clerk to undertake or otherwise cause noticing and posting thereof. And would Delise and Kathy, would you like to do the site visit for this one?
Sure.
Oh, why not?
That way everyone gets to do one this time.
Not me. You
What?
missed me.
Who did I miss?
Edna.
Well,
No,
and then you tagged up Delise twice.
No, Edna is working with me on Parsons.
No, Delise
No, it was
first.
Delise.
Okay, so Edna, you're going on this one.
All right.
And Delise, you're going on the other with one with me.
Okay, Edna, you and me again.
Okay, good.
Oh, we'll read about that in the police report.
No
Okay.
doubt.
Let me see. So Edna and Kathy will do that site visit. In accordance with Town Code Chapter 9, Conservation Advisory Board, we're referring the application to the Conservation Advisory Board for review and written comment concerning environmental factors. In accordance with Town Code Chapter 118, Waterfront Consistency Review, referring the application to the Waterfront Advisory Committee for review and written comment concerning consistency with the LWRP. And we're referring it to County Department of Planning and Development for review. And we're authorizing without any prejudice to any information or comment as may be presented at the public hearing or may arise based on both the above cited field visit and referral, preparation of a working draft of an approvals resolution for the planning board's consideration on December 21st, or as may be later timely. Could I hear, thank you, Jim. Could I hear a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
Edna. And a second?
Second, Melody.
Sharon. Melody. Thank
Whatever.
you. All in favor,
Whoever.
please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So Edna and Kathy will be getting in touch with you about the site visit.
Okay, and that will be before the 21st.
Yeah, oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very
you.
much.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, we have 2 ZBA referrals. Well, yeah. The first, well, actually, wait a minute. We have 2 ZEO referrals first, both signs. One Brookmead, 46 Brookmead Drive, their sign permit. Let me see, I guess you can see what the current proposed sign is. My understanding, they have been before the ZBA because there were a number of spatial issues with it in terms of size and all, and they have been granted the variances as I understand it.
That's correct, Mike.
Yeah. The ZBA has granted the variance requests for both sign size and sign lettering coverage. The only potential discussion item that we can identify might be related to the design of the sign faces, such as colors or fonts. I don't know if anyone has anything they'd like to suggest.
If I may say something, Mike, this is Patrick Roberts from Optimus.
Absolutely.
How are you?
Very good. And yourself?
Good, good. We went back and forth with the zoning board regarding visualization of the sign to actually, so that patrons and people that come to the site would actually see the sign. And this was somewhat of a negotiated series of back and forths of what the sign would look like: white background, green letters, and so forth. So the sign concept that you see there on this particular sheet under the proposed monument sign was what we had reviewed and come up with a consensus through the ZBA of how the sign would look. And then, of course, as you mentioned correctly, we did receive the 2 zoning variants, area variances, one for size and one for percentage of lettering.
Okay.
And then also the colors match the corporate wayfinding within the campus itself, inclusive of the symbolic umbrella that you see at the top of the Brookmead sign. That's reminiscent of the original nursing home, the Baptist home, which had a silhouette of a person sitting in a chair with an umbrella over their head. So the corporate image of bringing that umbrella back into the fold kept its way within the new graphic.
Okay. Any questions or comments from Mr. Roberts?
What are we being asked to vote on?
Well, we have a resolution, basically. Basically, this goes back to Michelle.
Yep.
It's a sign referral to us to look it over, see what we think, you know, aesthetically, whatever. And then it goes back to Michelle with our recommendation, and she's the one who actually will issue the sign permit.
I think it's a big improvement over the original proposed sign.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so the planning board did review this back in February. We did discuss it. You know, the need to go to the ZBA was discussed and identified, and they did get the relief from the ZBA for the sign. So my feeling at this point was, unless we want to talk about design, which apparently was done at length with the ZBA, I don't know there's much else for us to discuss because we had already sent that back to Michelle back in February for the other issues.
So what are we being asked to do now then again? Sorry.
Well, I have a resolution.
Different than the one in February? Different than whatever we did in February?
Well, we had concerns about the size, the color.
Okay, thank you.
And
Thank you.
that's then went back to Michelle, then she sent it to the ZBA. Then I think she saw, yes, indeed, there were some things about it in terms of size and whatnot, which did not meet the current code. And they went to the ZBA seeking relief from those requirements.
Thank you, Michael.
I
got it. I got it finally. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for. Okay, this is what I have. Upon review of the revised proposed sign rendering and consideration of approvals granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals for case number 998, the Planning Board has no further comments and recommends that the zoning administrator approve the sign permit. Could I hear a motion to approve this recommendation?
So moved.
Thank you, Edna. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Kathy. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Very good. Okay, we have one more referral from the zoning administrator. Patricia Wynn, 2 Charles Street, sign permit.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Patricia is on the call. If you can unmute.
I am here. Hello.
So I don't know, Michael, if you want me to go through this really quickly, but if everyone read the memo, Patricia was before us earlier this year for approval of the grocery store. That approval did include a sign, a round sign that was proposed and was approved as part of that approval. This is a change to the sign, I believe both in size and in shape. And so it is back before us because Michelle said it needed to come back to the planning board as the sign had changed from what was originally proposed. I do have a recommendation, but I guess we can open up for discussion and then we can get to that.
Is the circle to square because we required that?
No, the circle was approved with the previous plans.
Okay.
The whole sign package was approved previously. There was a little bit of some changes during the process, but she had, you know, it was approved.
Are there plans still for 2 signs? One on the building as well as this overhead sign?
No, there's only the one angle corner sign.
Okay.
But if you just want to check, my understanding was that the sign application for this first sign was never actually approved. That it was withdrawn, and when I was given the special use permit, it was with the exception that the sign was not approved.
Oh, okay. Well, So what do we think?
I'm assuming it's to scale on the building. Is that right?
That is close within an inch or two, yes.
How many feet is that off the ground?
I did include the footage off the ground in another rendering that you should have.
So it's
something like 7.5 feet is the
right
of the sign.
It's 7 feet, which in my opinion is not high enough. It should be a minimum of 8. We do have that requirement in other parts of the code, but a 7-foot sign is something that anyone walking by can easily smack on their way by. It really isn't high enough. It should be a minimum of 8 feet.
It just strikes me as a little oversized in terms of both in terms of what you were saying, Jim, but also just it looks like, I mean, and I confess to being not always visually good, but it just looks big.
And that was kind of what I put in my memo.
Is it angled off the corner or is it straight off the corner?
It is angled.
It is angled off the corner. Okay.
Right.
Can't really see that here.
If you're going to use the pole, then the sign needs to be rectangular rather than square, it would seem, to have it 8 feet off the ground. You have to lop a foot off of the bottom of it.
Or cut a little off the bottom or off the top, I guess. I think the design itself and the colors look fine. I think that the only question I would have really, and this is a question for Michelle to deal with, is indeed the size. And I think Edna's recommendation, just take a little off the top and off the bottom, would bring it, you get to that 8 foot. And I think you'd still have a very attractive sign. That's just my feeling. But
so if it got to the 8 feet, would that size be sufficient? Like, is that what the suggestion would be?
Well, I guess the sign would have to turn into a rectangle versus a square, so the image is smaller. Is that the question?
So it would be 21 inches high and 33 inches wide, according to what I'm seeing here.
And then is that enough white space to merit the logo size? Because I know there's some code regarding a need for a percentage of white space per logo.
There is a requirement for how much of the sign can be covered with the logo and the text. Yeah. I do think the sign is slightly over the maximum allowed by the code. So my recommendation was that Michelle take a look at it and see if she concurs with my finding. Then we can kind of go from there. But I do strongly believe the sign needs to be at least 8 feet off the ground, just for a safety perspective, among other things. That's typically what we would require for signs, to be at least 8 feet off the ground.
Well, you said you in your memo here, it suggests that it's quite a bit oversized.
Yeah.
Oh, that was for an accessory sign. I beg your pardon. Now it is the only sign.
Yeah.
Right. So now if it's the only sign, I think Michelle and I will take a look and see if we agree on the signage. This one's a little interesting because the signs are supposed to either be kind of on the principal facade or on a side facade. This is a projecting sign and it's right on the corner. So it's a little unique. But I need to talk with her about that and see what she believes as well.
Since it is the only sign, what is the size limit?
I knew you were going to ask. I have to go back and look.
My understanding from reviewing the code is 8 square feet, and this falls just under 8 square feet.
I mean, I definitely don't think the logo or the verbiage, the language should be any smaller, just from a visibility standpoint,
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
I mean, you got to be able to see what it says. So maybe if there's a way to just eliminate a little bit of the white to keep the depth of the logo and the language, and then it could just get it off the ground a little.
I get the sense that no one objects to the design or the color. It's just a size issue. Is that
Size
fair?
and height. It's size and height from the ground.
Yeah.
Right off the sidewalk, yeah.
Well, I think I can gain about 6 inches if I don't have the sign hang from the pole. If I remember right, when this was designed, there is a 6-inch space between the top of the sign and the pole. So, you know, it could be brought up. If I remember right, it was 7 feet and 3 inches or 7 feet and 4 inches off the ground. So I think with another 6 inches, it would be, you know, pretty close to the 8 feet.
No, I think Jim wants to get to 8 feet.
I mean, that's the usual standard for a minimum, especially if it's over a sidewalk where people are walking underneath. So that's what I would recommend.
What is the sign made of?
It is proposed to be a wood sign painted white with, you know, a screen print of the logo.
Uh-huh.
Well, shall we recommend that we send it back to Michelle, saying the thing we think she needs to look at is just the size of the sign and the distance from the sidewalk, and for her to then, you know, determine how she feels it should be placed. As far as color and design is concerned, that we have no concerns with it. And when she resolves those other questions to her satisfaction, she should issue the permit, the sign permit. Does that sound agreeable?
Yeah, just a question. The color of the name and the outline of the produce, is that matching the color on the building, or is it a different color? It's just hard to read.
Yeah, it's the name of the store is very close to the dark color of the building.
Okay, all right, that's what I was guessing.
Yeah, the produce is a little bit of a brighter blue than
okay.
Dark gray.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, so if we're down to one sign, 8 square feet, and surface area is permitted. But as we know, we've had a discussion about surface area and one side versus 2. So again, we'll send it back to Michelle. But I'm good with Michael's recommendation that if we get it to the proper size and distance of 8 feet, that addresses my concerns.
I guess for a motion to send that recommendation down to Michelle.
So moved, Edna.
Thank you, Edna. Second?
Second, Melody.
Thank you, Melody. All in favor, say aye.
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 Very good. Thank you. Well, good luck. It's a handsome sign.
Thank you.
Whole storefront looks great.
It does indeed. Best improvement it looked like last year. That's
Yeah.
for sure. And good luck. Okay, we have one more zoning board of appeals referral, which is Gretchen Reichelt. And I believe it has to do with the stable being in front of the principal structure. I think that was it.
Yes. Yep. I will bring it
All I
up.
have to do is find it here.
Can everyone see the screen?
There we go. Okay. They're putting in a barn with a 10-foot overhang. It's well off the road, an 18-acre lot on Pilgrim's Progress. The barn, though, the proposed barn sits between the existing residence and the road, although it will be several hundred feet off the road. There's also a line of trees. You're not really going to be able to see it. Even if the trees were removed, the barn would still be several hundred feet from the existing neighbors. So it really, there don't seem to be any issues here. So the proposed resolution we have here is the Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board, upon referral by the ZBA of an application by Gretchen Reichelt to install a barn at 57 Pilgrim's Progress Road in the RC5 zoning district. We find that the requested variance raises no significant planning or environmental concerns, and we recommend the ZBA rely upon its own study of the facts in deciding the application in accordance with the criteria and procedures set forth in Town Code Chapter 125, including consideration of the input of neighboring property owners. Any discussion on this one?
Where do they say you can see it from? The power lines?
I'm not sure where you would see it from.
Doesn't make sense.
Probably
It's
Power lines.
It's the black box right here.
Right, but from the road, how do you see it with that huge buffer in front?
Yeah, you won't. You're
Really
never
don't.
going to see it.
Yeah.
Could I hear a motion to approve the recommendation to the ZBA?
So moved, Edna.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Very good. Okay, I think the only thing we have left is our response letter to Grassmere that was prepared by Jim Levy and Kim Garrison and John Lyons for us, which I hope you've all had a chance to read. I would like to adopt it tonight and then send it on to the applicant tomorrow. And also it then becomes a public document for anyone who wishes to see it. I'd also like to send it to the town board members, to Michelle Turk, our zoning administrator. And I spoke with Kimberly this morning and she said it would just be helpful to have it in their records as well for the building department. So did anyone not have a chance to read it? Okay, I'm guessing everyone had a chance to read it.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Could I ask for a motion to approve, to adopt it and to have it sent on to the applicant and to the other people I mentioned?
So moved, Melody.
Second? Did we get a second?
Second, Edna.
Thank you, Edna. Is there any further discussion? I personally feel that Jim and John and Kim did an excellent job for us. I hope that it expresses our questions and that hopefully we can move this project along. I know that I think everyone's kind of eager to see it get going. So I think the sooner we get this to them, the sooner we can get things going.
And the only other thing I would add is that does not preclude other questions from coming up in the future.
Well, no, because during the review process, there are going to be zillions of questions coming up as we go through it, and that's to be expected.
Absolutely, but I would concur with you that Jim and Kim and John did a really good job of summarizing where we are in an attempt to allow the applicant to begin to move forward.
Any other comments?
I mean, I think the only comment I have is that there's no doubt that there's parts of it that I just simply don't quite understand. But it's just like I read it 3 times and I'm like, I don't know that I fully understand what this is saying to me. But I don't know that that part's my job. I'm just putting that out there honestly that, you know, I don't know that I fully understand it.
Okay.
Are you saying the response letter, Delise?
Yeah, yes. Is that the response letter? I actually don't know what the title was of it. But maybe it wasn't actually the response letter. It was like the 4-page document.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the response letter.
Yeah, okay. So anyways, that's it. That's my only comment.
Well, I
Any
think
other comments?
that you understand it. Michael, what do you suggest?
I don't know what to suggest. I mean, I certainly understand it, but then I've been working on this project for more than 7 years now. And based on all the other applications that we've dealt with, I have a very good grasp, I think, on what I require for an application for me to really understand a project, its different ramifications. And beyond that, it's a type 1 action for coordinated environmental review. We have to present information to all the other involved agencies issuing permits for this so they can do their reviews in a timely manner. I would very much not like to find us get into the position of having to constantly supply new information to the other involved agencies. I would like, and I'm sure the applicant would feel the same way, that they have what they need so they can do what they can do without unnecessary delays.
Michael, what do you think about just having a phone conversation with Delise so she could go over it with you and you could answer any questions?
I would be happy to do that.
Sure.
Yeah, I was going to offer to do that as well if you'd like, Delise. And I just want to put out there that, this memo is going to come from me on Planning for Places letterhead. It really technically isn't any different than a memo that I would write in the, like the memo that I submitted tonight, except that it's much longer. And because of the depth of everything that's been going on, we broke it out as a separate kind of response and not something that's, you know, going into the meeting memo like we had tonight. So it's still kind of my comments on all of this. I just thought, and John Lyons thought it was important to make sure the planning board was generally comfortable with it and thought that it addressed the issues, you know, as you kind of saw them standing now, so that we can get the application to the point where, you know, we can accept it for review. And then, you know, then we'll certainly have the ability to go and ask any other questions we have. So it's still,
yeah, sorry, go ahead. No, part of it is it definitely the recognition that the previous renditions of the application was long before I was even part of the conversation. So that evolution that has taken place, you know, I don't even actually know. So my takeaway overall was just that there's some environmental concerns and also many other questions that will still come up in this latest version that you know, needs environmental review. I mean, that was, anyway, so I think part of it is just I didn't see where it started versus where it is today. But at the same time, I read it a few times, nothing seemed overly concerning. If there's a particular question I have about maybe what something means or specifically what it's referencing, perhaps I can let you know.
Yeah, but by all means, certainly let me know. But mainly, yeah, I think I was hoping to make sure everyone was generally comfortable with it and didn't have any major issues with what I was, you know, kind of stating, you know, which I think was mainly my trying to review it for the facts. This is what we have. This is what we don't. This is what we think, you know, the planning board needs. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, by all means, let me know. And then hopefully this will get us to the point where I can work with John and I can work with GPI and get some things tightened up and get this back to the planning board.
And I think part of it too was having John and Kim work on it to make sure that what we were asking for was appropriate from a legal standpoint to ensure that we have what we need for a complete application, so we don't have to keep going back and restarting. So, does anyone else on the planning board have any comment or question?
No.
Did I ask for a motion in a second?
You did, and I gave you a motion.
Okay, and I think I got a second.
Yeah, you did.
Very good. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Any opposed? Okay. Well, we'll send it on. Hopefully, this will jumpstart the process, and we can really proceed with this project. And I think, personally, I think that it has great promise for our community. Yes. Well, that's all I had for this evening. Does anyone else have anything else they wish to bring up, or not hearing anything? And with Woody not here, could I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Melody.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all very much. We're going to be entering into a very busy season, I think, and it's going to be interesting. We did interview a couple candidates for Woody's seat, and we have made a recommendation to the town board, which they have taken, and I'm hoping that on their meeting next week, a week from tonight, that they will be appointing someone to take Woody's position and fulfill the rest of Woody's term. Sharon, I know you're coming up for reappointment. If you're still willing to stick it with us, please fill out an application at the clerk's office.
Okay.
So we can get your name before the town board. I've already sent a letter of recommendation asking that they reappoint you.
Okay.
Well, thanks all. I hope you all have a good evening and nice week.